Welcome back to the Tremendous Hustle channel. Going over the Pacers and Cavaliers game 2 breakdown. I really didn't get a chance to do this earlier. I was traveling. I was in Indianapolis at my parents. Watched that great comeback by Tyrese Haliburton and the Pacers. And I'm still buzzing from that victory, as many Pacers fans are. It's been very crazy to think about and unpack what happened. How in the world did they come back from a 20-point deficit like they did? The Cavs made a ton of mistakes along the ways. The Pacers got some breaks. The ball bounced their way. The calls went their way. True indeed. But the Pacers ultimately never gave up, and they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. 120 to 119. It was a thriller. They were down by 20 points and came back. Now, the Pacers have done this a bunch of times this season. The series prior to this with the Bucks, they did it in that game 5, but also in the regular season, there were several games where they came from behind like this, raced big leads, got behind early and raced big leads to come back and win. I think that experience has made them so dangerous now in the playoffs because they know that they can come back. I also think that they learned a lot from the playoff series with the Boston Celtics last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, especially in games, 3 and 4 in Indianapolis. The Pacers were up big. They were up 20 points on the Celtics in game 3. I was there in person. Game 3, up huge. The crowd was rocking. The arena was incredible. The energy was great. The Pacers were doing everything right. The Celtics just kept chipping away. Got it down to maybe around 13 or so to start the fourth. And in the fourth quarter, they just applied pressure. They blitzed, they trapped ball handlers. They forced the Pacers to make quicker decisions. The Pacers turned the ball over a few times. They missed some shots because the shots were just better contested. The speed of the Celtics and the length. And also, the Celtics put a lot of pressure on the rim when they got the ball. They didn't just hoist threes. They got into the paint, made layups. Jaylen Brown hit a number of tough shots. Drew Holiday got some steals and made some incredible plays at the rim as well. And then, of course, Derek White does what he does and splashes threes. So I think the Pacers got a front row seat on how to come back in the playoffs. And it's by increasing your level of intensity. They increased their intensity. They went after every loose rebound, every miss of a free throw. They made sure they got, whether it was their own team's miss or the Cleveland Cavaliers team miss. They were making sure that they got as many second chance opportunities to be able to chip away at that lead and whittle it down to where it was at least manageable within the last minute. Looking back at that fourth quarter, and it started off with Indiana being down 13. Very similar to what I was saying earlier about the Boston Celtics series, game 3 in particular, and also game 4. Each of those games came down to the last few seconds. I think both games they ended up losing by 3 points. This felt very similar. They began to make 2-pointers. They begin to focus on getting into the paint, making layups, getting shots at the rim. Benedict Mathurin made a reverse layup off a crazy Tyrese Haliburton pass. Then also there was a play where Jared Allen, made a dunk, but then immediately after that, within 7 seconds, Tyrese Haliburton makes a driving layup, to cut that back down to 9. So every time the Cavs scored, the Pacers got the ball out of the net. They got the ball up the court quickly, and they scored quickly. Then they began to make some free throws. Technical. Benedict Mathurin made a 2-point tip dunk off the rim on an offensive rebound. Miles Turner missed the layup, and then he grabbed the rebound and dunked it in. That cut the lead down to 6. It was 100-94. And I was at my parents' house, so I was helping them. They're older. And I kind of had stopped watching the game. They were down by, I think, 13 or 15 in the third quarter when I stopped watching it. And when I came back in, they had just cut it down to 6. Mathurin had just dunked the ball in and cut it to 6. And I couldn't believe it, what happened, how quickly things turned around. And so some of this stuff I had to kind of watch on replay to figure out what happened. But Donovan Mitchell makes free throws. He missed the first one, so that was a mistake there. He missed a free throw. That left a little bit of a gap. So instead of going up 8, now they're only up 7 because he made the second one. Then Benedict Mathurin made another layup off an assist from Nembhard. Nice, beautiful scooping finger roll. Then Donovan Mitchell, once again, gets fouled. Actually, they got a technical foul. The Pacers did, a delay a game, and I guess it was their second of the game. So Donovan Mitchell makes a technical free throw, which made it 102-96. So they're back up by 6 points. After that, Donovan Mitchell got fouled, made both of his free throws, and they were up 8. So 104-96 with 6 minutes and 43 seconds left. Aaron Nesmith gets a 2-point layup. I think that was off of a missed 3-point shot or something along that line. And the Cavs basically at about the 5:27 mark called timeout. And the score was still at 6 points, still 6 points gap, 104-98. Andrew Nembhard missed a shot. They got the rebound, an offensive rebound. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Hustle points, hustle and intensity plays. Pacers were getting offensive rebounds. Miles Turner missed the putback rebound, the layup, got the rebound again, the offensive rebound, missed another one. And it didn't look good for the Pacers at that point because then Donovan Mitchell made a 2-point driving layup on the other end to put them up 8. But it didn't matter. The Pacers, as soon as they scored at 4:48, but the Pacers came back and scored within 12 seconds on an Andrew Nembhard layup. I think they also got a foul on that. So Nembhard got a foul and he went to the free throw line and made the free throw afterwards. So now the score was 106-101. So Miles Turner later on, after Strus makes a shot, Miles Turner makes a layup. Then free throws are exchanged. Nesmith then makes a 3-pointer to cut the lead back down to 4. So back and forth. They constantly made plays, both teams. Donovan Mitchell made a floater that made it 112-106 with 3:15 left. So this is where things really started to get interesting as the game went on. Aaron Nesmith gets a block on a Donovan Mitchell pull-up jump shot. Intensity, defense. Haliburton got the rebound. Nembhard missed on the other end. And Isaac Okoro got the rebound, and this led to a foul by Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell makes just one of the 2 free throws. So this is the second time Donovan Mitchell has missed free throws in this quarter. So that's 2 points that the Cavs missed. It's 2:31. He made the second. They're now up 7, 113-106. So they couldn't really get any separation on the Pacers. The Pacers kept whittling it down. They would get it to 7 or 6 or 8, and the Pacers would cut it right back down to 4 each time. And that's what happened. Pascal Siakam gets a layup, cuts it down to 5, and then Donovan Mitchell once again makes one free throw, misses the other. Has 3 missed free throws by Donovan Mitchell up to this point with 1:38 left. And the Pacers are only down by 4 points, 114-110, after Haliburton makes a layup. Max Strus makes a 3-point shot. It looks like it's over now. 117-110 with only 1 minute and 6 seconds left. Got to be over, right? It felt like a dagger. Max Strus had a great night. I think 20 points. And he played a really good sidekick role to Donovan Mitchell, who went completely nuclear in this game. Almost scored 50 points. He scored 48 points on the Pacers. And it looked like it was over. But then at that point, things changed greatly. With 57 seconds left, Donovan Mitchell gets to the free throw line and makes 1 free throw. And then he makes the second. So here he didn't make second. But remember, at this point, he's already missed 3 in this quarter. Back on the other end, the Pacers get fouled. Pascal Siakam gets fouled going to the basket. He misses the first free throw, misses the second. Aaron Nesmith grabs the rebound off the rim and dunks it. Probably should have gotten a foul and one as well. Some people would say it was a lane violation, perhaps, but I've never seen a lane violation called ever in a playoff game, let alone in the fourth quarter in the clutch of a playoff game. Less than a minute left, everybody left their spots early, every single player on the court. So at any rate, even if they did call it, it would have been a jump ball. Maybe the Pacers get the ball and get a dunk anyway. There's no guarantee that would have helped the Cavs. But regardless, none of that happened. What did happen was Aaron Nesmith got a dunk, and they reviewed it to make sure that it wasn't basket interference instead of a clean dunk, and it was clean. He called it right outside the rim, threw it down. Donovan Mitchell was all over him, hacked him. Surprised they didn't call the foul. Of course, he lands on Donovan Mitchell awkwardly. Nesmith does, but that was just basically you hit a guy in the air, and he's coming down. There's going to be bad things that happen. At this point, start to really feel like maybe the Pacers are going to get this one. This felt very similar to the Bucks game 5. So that point counted. And so now the score is 119 to 114. So the Pacers have a few opportunities to get back in. Tyrese Haliburton, when they get the ball back, he drives, gets his shot blocked by Jared Allen, but the Pacers get the ball back. Went out of bounds. So Pascal Siakam then made a driving layup from a Nembhard assist, and that was now just down 3, 119 to 116. And this is where things really, really, really get crazy, because the Cavs couldn't inbound the ball, so they had to burn a timeout, which was their last timeout. They took a 60-second timeout because they couldn't get the ball inbounds. And so when they throw the ball in, they turn it over. Andrew Nembhard steals it. Just like in the Bucks game, Andrew Nembhard got a steal. And so Tyrese Haliburton drives, gets fouled by Ty Jerome. He makes the first free throw. They're only down 2 points now, 119 to 117. Tyrese Haliburton then misses the second one. Don't think it was on purpose. At first, it looked like he missed it on purpose, but it wouldn't make any sense for him to miss it on purpose, because if they don't get the rebound and they foul, that would give the Cavs the opportunity to go up 4 with 2 free throws. So I think he really did just kind of short arm it. And Tyrese, his left wrist and arm was all taped up. He had a sleeve on it. He hurt his wrist earlier in the game. Looks like he got caught up with Jared Allen. And so his hand was just wrapped up. He looked like one of those old school wrestlers, that just had their hands wrapped. And but the ball comes off the rim. Miles Turner tips it. Tyrese Haliburton grabs the rebound, dribbles it out, which looked like he almost lost the ball there on that rebound, because they're reaching in. Merrill swipes at the ball. He almost loses it. He dribbles it out to the top of the key, 3-point line. Dribbles over to the right a little bit, crosses over, crosses back, fakes like he's going to drive in, basically gets 1 foot inside the 3-point line, and then takes that patented step back that he likes to take. And he just cashed it. Cash money. Pacers up 120 to 119 with only 1.1 second left. And sadly, the Cavs couldn't even get off a shot before the end. So it was crazy to see. Very, very interesting game. Very, very exciting game as well. And it's just what the Pacers have been doing. They've been doing this incredible stuff throughout the playoffs. This feels like a team that is just determined not to lose. Like, they are addicted to winning, and they're just going to figure out a way to come back. They don't give up, which is a wonderful testament to the coaching. Rick Carlisle's done a great job preparing his staff. You can tell they go over film. They know the tendencies of the Cavs and the teams that they play. They make good adjustments at halftime as well. There's been several games where they've come out kind of flat in the first quarter or the second quarter and gone into halftime down and have come from behind, both at the end of the regular season and into the playoffs. So that's a sign that the coaching staff is making good adjustments, taking advantage of mistakes from the other team. They're putting pressure on the other team. The other thing is their depth. Their depth is what's causing a lot of this problem. The Pacers played 11 players in this game, which is crazy in the playoffs. The rule you always hear about the playoffs is that you shorten your rotations. You have to shorten your rotations. You have to play your best players, your best 8 or 9 men in a rotation in the playoffs. Rick Carlisle's breaking that rule. He's broken the rule just about every game. He's played at least 9 to 10 players every single game. And so that has worked out, though, because it's allowed, even if it's just for a few minutes, of Ben Shepherd, which I think has been a mixed bag, having Ben Shepherd out on the court. Those minutes have not been going very well for the Pacers. Not defensively and certainly not offensively. He's an offensive negative for the Pacers right now. But just allowing guys like Mathurin and more specifically Nesmith a little break to conserve energy, to save minutes, so that he can play like a pinball in a pinball machine in the fourth quarter is what really has been helping the Pacers. Andrew Nembhard as well. You know, they have TJ McConnell coming off the bench to play a lot of minutes. You know, usually he plays at least 20 to 24 minutes. That allows him and Tyrese to get breaks, to be rested so that they can blitz at the end of a game like this if they have to. Unfortunately, the Cavs just don't have the depth, especially not at the point guard position that the Pacers have. Merrill and Ty Jerome in particular, really struggled this game. It's a lot different coming off the bench than being a starter in the playoffs, especially when your backs are kind of against the wall and things get tough. Ty Jerome just defensively couldn't do anything to really help his team and couldn't hit his shots. And so you really negate his ability to help your team when you can't do those two things. If he's not scoring, if he's not getting assists, really he's not being very effective for the Cavs. And it's a lot different facing a starting lineup with guys like Aaron Nesmith and Nembhard out there chasing him around than it is maybe going against TJ McConnell or Ben Shepherd off the Pacers bench. It's a whole different thing. And I don't think he was prepared for that. It's kind of sad that the Cavs have run into this situation. I actually do feel bad for their fans a little bit because a 64-win season is incredible. And you don't ever anticipate that ending kind of the way that it's probably going to end because of injuries and not being able to stay healthy, especially after last year's playoffs when Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen went out with injuries and they couldn't compete in the second round. Unfortunately, though, this has happened to Donovan Mitchell several times. And I feel bad for him because he's such a good player. He plays the right way. He carved the Pacers up. In my preview of this series, I said that he's probably going to go off for 40 at some point, if probably at least two times. I felt that this series he was going to go off for 40 on the Pacers just because that's just how good he is. And I've seen him do it to the Pacers before. In the regular season last year, I think he scored 40 plus on the Pacers twice. So when he gets downhill and he gets to the basket, he just really can't be stopped. And you can't touch him because the refs are going to give him the benefit of the doubt on those type of plays. Even when he's running into guys and initiating contact, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt because he just has that reputation. He has a solid reputation of being a good finisher. So if he misses, clearly it's going to look like if there was any contact that he must have been fouled. And I don't fault the refs for that. In fact, I love how relentless he is at attacking the basket. And I look at a guy like Benedict Mathurin, and I hope he studies him very closely and tries to pattern his game after him because Donovan Mitchell can pretty much do everything on the floor that you need out of a shooting guard. He's not a great defender, not because of his ability to stay in front of guys, but he's just kind of short. He's 6'3", doesn't really have super long arms or anything. So it makes it a little bit harder for him to contest shots. But when a guy can score 48 points in the playoffs, 50 points in the playoffs, he's done that multiple times too. It makes up for a lot of inadequacies on the defensive end. And he just played an incredible game. 48 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists even. He did it all. And sadly, it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough because the Pacers are on one right now. They are just on a roll that I have not seen since Reggie Miller was wearing the jersey. Probably that 2000 run to the finals. I haven't seen these type of comebacks in back-to-back series ever, though. I haven't seen them do this, but the Pacers did this last year, did it this year. So now people, I think, are starting to understand that this is the type of team that they are. They're a gritty team. They wear you down with their depth and their energy, and their coach just knows how to plug and play things. He's a tinkerer. Rick Carlisle is a tinkerer, and sometimes it fails miserably. But these past few games, he's still, even when he fails quick. He has an agile approach to coaching. Fail fast. So he'll try something out. If it doesn't work for a few minutes, he doesn't try it again in the third or the fourth quarter. Usually he'll switch to something else and try a different player, try going with an ultra weird lineup like he did in the fourth, when for a moment there he had Tyrese Haliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, and Miles Turner on the floor. 4 guards and a center. And that lineup worked great. Oh my goodness, they just played so much faster. Siakam is a very fast player himself. But I think with those players, just their ability to handle the ball is a little bit better than Siakam's. So they're able to get the rebound, push it, and really go all the way to the other end of the court, or it's just a different dynamic, a different type of energy with those 4 guards, and then Miles Turner, being in the lineup too. I don't think I've ever seen that lineup during the regular season or previously in the playoffs. That's the brilliance of Rick Carlisle and the experience, the championship experience that he brings. Kenny Atkinson doesn't have that. Kenny Atkinson's never made it out of the second round. He's been on other teams as an assistant, though, and seen a lot of winning. And he's a very good coach. But just being bold enough to just try something weird like that in a fourth quarter, when you're trying to come back and make a big run, that's just not what most coaches do. They usually just kind of double down and shorten their rotation in the fourth quarter. The starters may play the whole 12 minutes. But he was pulling players in and out throughout that fourth quarter to make sure that everybody stayed fresh and that they were able to be unpredictable. And so looking forward to game 3. It's been a great series, and I can't wait to see it. I think the Pacers are going to wrap it up as they head back home. I don't know if the Cavs can recover. I think Darius Garland is going to probably try to play. Evan Mobley should probably try to play. And I'm not sure if DeAndre Hunter is going to be able to play with that thumb, especially if it's a ligament issue. But if it's on his non-shooting hand, I mean, maybe he can tape it up and play a little bit, do some, grab some rebounds, play some defense. If he can do any of that, I think he's going to help, because they were pretty small. They didn't have a lot of size, and that hurt them. And they need that. They don't have a really good backup center. They don't have somebody that they trust that can come in and give Jarrett Allen, a break. Dean Wade, he doesn't play big. Man, he's got some size, but he's not a guy that's going to be able to compete at this level in the playoffs. So they really need Hunter, Mobley, and Garland to get back in the series. They can still push this series out, but I just don't see them winning more than 2 more games. It's going to be very difficult for them to win 4 games, 4 out of the next 5 games. It's just very hard to do, especially not the way that the Pacers are playing right now and the confidence that they have. If the Pacers weren't confident, if they weren't feeling so cocky and feeling like this is their year to win a championship, which Tyrese said this is their goal. Their goal is not just to advance in the playoffs. They want to try to win a championship this year. So Cleveland has an uphill battle, but I think they definitely will not get swept. I think that they wouldn't be surprised if they steal one of these next two games in Indianapolis. But if they go down 3-1, I mean, it's just going to be delaying the inevitable at that point. I think that the Pacers will win this in 5 or 6. If those aforementioned players don't play, and it's just going to be Donovan Mitchell and Max Strus and Merrill and Ty Jerome, they may not win a game. They may not win a game. I just don't think that's enough to keep up with Indiana, especially at home where the Pacers have not lost a game in the playoffs this year or in the first 2 rounds of last year. They won all their home games. The only 2 home games they lost last year were against the Celtics, but Tyrese Haliburton didn't play. He was hurt. So, and even in those games, they almost won against the world champs. So they're just very, very hard to beat at home, and that crowd is crazy. It's going to be rocking. Can't wait. It's been a very exciting series. Didn't turn out the way that I thought it was going to be. I thought the Pacers would probably come back to Indy with a 1-1 split, and that this would go 7 games with the Pacers possibly winning. But I had 7. Most likely the Cavs were going to win it in my mind. But I think that with the circumstances and getting behind 2, I don't think it's possible. I think 88% of all teams who lose the first 2 games at home end up losing that series. Even if they do push it out to 6 or 7 games, they end up losing. It's just too much of a hill to climb. But I'll be watching it, and I will be enjoying it as well. All right. On the next one, man, we'll get caught up after game 3 and talk a little bit more about the series. And I also want to talk about some of the other series, too, that are going on. Crazy Knicks Celtics series. I have a lot of thoughts on that series. A lot of things that the Celtics are doing wrong that are really hurting them. Things that they didn't do last year. They're not playing the way they played last year. So I'll be breaking down that video tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that video on here. All right. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already done so, like and subscribe. And I'm loving this playoffs. The NBA playoffs 2025 has been fantastic. And there's a lot more left to be talked about. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. All right. See you in the next one.